Welcome to Speak a Dogcast. My name is David Farb, Animal Behavior Specialist, and I am broadcasting aboard a cruise ship in the middle of the North Sea. Yes, that's right. We are not at WOUF Wolf Studios. No, right now I'm on vacation, and I brought you guys along with me. Leading up to my vacation, we had some pre-recorded podcasts ready to go that were awesome. But unfortunately, I was not able to get the episodes for my weeks that I wasn't going to be in town. I wasn't able to get them done before I got out of town. There's a lot to do, a lot of loose ends to tie up before I can ever get out of town on vacation. So I brought you guys along with me. So I'm going to have to apologize if the sound isn't up to snuff. You guys might hear some background noise. You might hear the engine rumbling a bit. Who knows what's going to happen, to be honest, because like I said, I'm on a cruise ship. So I do have to apologize for the video quality, the audio quality. It's not in my studio, but I think it's pretty fun. You guys are in my cabin with me right now aboard the cruise ship, and it's fantastic. I'm over here in the British Isles. We've gone to Ireland, England. We were in Scotland today, and we're making our way up around Scotland now. So we're currently in the North Sea. So look, you might notice right now, if you're on my YouTube, in the background, we've got darkness. It's actually nighttime right now. Some of my segments I recorded during the day. It's a little all over the place. I'm trying to squeeze it in where I can. On my vacation, I'm doing a lot of golfing, so getting it where I can. But again, I apologize for the quality. We'll get back to it in a couple weeks. Next week, I'm also going to be on vacation. Still going to be on vacation, but we're still going to get a new episode out to you. So please excuse the sound, the video, but hey, we're still here. We're still doing it, and I'm super excited to be with you guys. So thank you for joining me. Hey, be sure you check out my Instagram page. You can find me over there at Speak a Dogcast. Yes, all kinds of great content. You can also find my YouTube channel. If the visual thing is maybe more your thing, go check me out, youtube.com/speakadogcast. You can also become a patron of the show today if you want to support me even further. We're going to have some more content coming your way very soon. Head on over to patreon.com/speakadogcast and become a patron of the show today. And of course, guys, if you love what you're hearing, if you love the podcast, do me a favor, scroll on down, click that 5-star rating, leave me a review. If you're on YouTube, give me that thumbs up. I would love it. So thank you guys so much. Now on today's show, we're gonna have a little bit of an abridged version. The internet is a little spotty, right? We're in the middle of the ocean, middle of the sea, North Sea rather. So I wanted to try to make the podcast a little bit shorter. That way it's a smaller file to upload and get up there. So you may notice a few segments missing today, but that's okay. We still got some training segments coming your way. So today on the podcast, we have what's in a dog? Yes, we have to ask that question because it's so important that you understand what a dog is in between the ears and behind the eyes, because I see it time and time again. Without that understanding, it can actually hinder and hurt your training and, for that matter, your relationship with your dog. So we have to ask what's in a dog. Then comes across the pond. It's where I am. I've made some really interesting observations on dogs in Ireland and England and Scotland. And it's been really kind of fascinating on behavior and maybe just the perspective of dogs over here. So we're going to dive more into that. Yes. And like I said, we're going to have an abridged episode. So it's just going to be these two segments today, but be sure you join me back again next week where we'll have all kinds of great dog training information for you guys. Now, before we get going with today's show, I have to give you that trivia question. And today's question is going to be, how long can a Galapagos tortoise go without water? Yes, how long can a Galapagos tortoise go without water? I will give you the answer to today's question somewhere in the podcast, so be sure you stick around, sit, stay, and enjoy the show. Next on Speak a Dogcast, what's in a dog? Yes, now today on this segment, we'll be talking about what the makeup of a dog is. What is a dog at its core? And I'll be honest, I think a lot of behavioral issues, and the reason people have behavioral issues with their dog is because, quite frankly, just at the end of the day, they don't treat dogs like dogs. And I think especially in the United States, there is really a misunderstanding of what a dog is at their core, how they're hardwired. And so we end up getting behavioral issues because of that. It's just like if you treat a child not like a child, you're not going to get the best results. How about being an adult? If you're an adult and someone treats you like a child, most of us are not going to be okay with that, right? Most people are not okay with being treated like a child when they're an adult. So you can take that correlation very easily and go, well, look, if I don't want to be treated like a child, if I don't want to be treated like something I'm not, it's not going to get the best results. Think about that, right? Like that's kind of poignant when you think about it with dogs. If you don't treat a dog like a dog, if you don't give them the need, fulfill their needs, fulfill the needs of a dog and understand what they are at their core, you're not going to get the best results. And I think that's why in the United States we do see so many dogs with behavioral issues, is there is this misconception of what a dog is. What's my least, probably my least favorite term, I've talked about it before, I haven't talked about it in a while, my least favorite thing that people call their dogs. Fur babies. Oh God. Fur babies. It's my fur baby. It's my baby. It's my fur baby. Guys, you can love your dog a ton without having to look at it like a human being. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I love my dogs more than anything. I don't have children. I love my dogs. They're everything to me. But never in a million years am I going to call them a fur baby. Do you know why? Because they're not babies. They're not children. They're not babies. They're dogs. And so to take that perspective, and I know some people go, oh, David, it's just something we say. It's something we say, but the problem is if you say something over and over and over and over and over again, you tend to start believing it. Whether you realize it or not, whether it's an active thought or not, you tend to start buying into your own BS, right? So that's why something like a fur baby is such a like gut punch to me. I can't stand it because it's almost, in my opinion, an insult to a dog. Come on, how many of you out there like animals better than people and you want to call your dog a person? The reason dogs are awesome is because they're not people. They are dogs. They're four-legged friends. And I even, what, four-legged friend? You want to call them a four-legged friend? Cool with that because they are. They're our buddies. They're our friends. But you know what they're not? Babies, right? So when we talk about dogs, I think there is a very big problem in the United States in that we view our dogs as our children. And people, look, I've had people hate on me for this before, and quite frankly, I don't care because I see what happens when people treat their dogs like children. They don't get a good result. So to sit here and put out that into the universe, this fur baby thing, I think it does your dog a huge disservice. Can your dog be your best friend? Absolutely. Can they be your fur baby? No, they can't because they're not babies. All right. And not to mention just like baby. If you start calling your dog a fur baby, you're babying them and you're spoiling them, quote unquote. We try to spoil them like people as opposed to spoiling them like dogs. So here's the thing, guys. Dogs are not people. I mean, I think I have to say this for a few of you out there, unfortunately, but dogs are not people, guys. They're not. They're not people. They are dogs. They are domesticated wolves, right? And so if I start changing my perspective to go, well, this is a domesticated wolf. What is a domesticated wolf at their core? They're pack migratory animals. How many times do I say this over and over and over? But people don't take it to heart enough, and they don't take it and put it into action enough. And so if we don't take what a dog is at their core and actually put it into action in our own lives with our own dogs, we don't get the best results, right? One prime example is the harness. You may have known my feelings on the harness, but I can't stand harnesses. I think they're a terrible tool to get dogs to walk properly. Can you get a dog to walk properly on a harness? Yes, but in my opinion and in my experience and all the knowledge and years I've been doing this, it's not the right tool for the job. It's not the tool that's going to get you the results that you're looking for, sometimes ever, and sometimes as quickly as you're looking to get them. And so when we talk about this harness, what is the reason? What's the reason people put harnesses on their dogs? Now, there are medical reasons aside, and we're not, look, if your dog has got an issue with an esophagus or throat, or sure, we can't put a collar on them. That's one of the extenuating circumstances. But the reason a lot of people throw harnesses on their dogs is, I don't want to hurt their feelings. I don't want to put a collar on them. It's so mean to put something around their neck. Right there, that is the first misconception we have to talk about. Because to put a collar around a human child's neck, not going to work so well, and I do not recommend it. Please don't do that. Okay? But for a dog, the tool makes sense, and we have to ask why. Why does a collar work better than a harness? First and foremost, dogs naturally correct each other by nips. You've seen it, right? Even in playtime, it's a similar kind of concept, but mama dog will go in and actually nip them in the neck, nip them in the sides of their butts. And it's a natural, instinctual way for them to correct each other, play with each other, all these things. And that's why the collar needs to be utilized around the neck and not a harness. Because everything in a dog's communication is going to be in this area. Everything when it comes to dog training, and for that matter, animal training, is all about this area, the head, the eyes, the focus, the mental side of it. And if I have something like a harness restricting around here, I can sit here and correct with the harness all day long, but if the dog wants to turn its head away, the harness isn't going to do a damn thing. You see what I'm saying? So understanding what a dog is at their core, then understanding how dogs naturally correct each other, that's what's going to get you the better result when it comes to behavior and training. And again, I say it, look, don't take my word for it. Go outside, go walk down the street and see how many people are walking their dogs in harnesses. And then you have to ask the second follow-up question, how many of these dogs are walking properly? And I can almost guarantee you that 80 to 90% of dogs in harnesses are not walking properly, are not focused, are not paying attention, maybe have behavioral issues when they see another dog. So again, we have to understand what a dog is at their core to be able to get the results we're looking for. So that's just first and foremost. A harness is one of the biggest misconceptions of, well, I don't want to hurt my dog. And guys, they aren't humans. Their necks are not built the same way as you or I. Their necks are meant to take a lot of punishment, of physicality. Dogs are literally meant to grab each other by the neck, drag each other to the ground, and not draw blood and not hurt each other. Now, can they if they really get sure? But you understand what I'm saying. It is a natural way for dogs to communicate with each other. And to deny that, it's pure ignorance. It really is. It's sheer ignorance to deny the fact that putting a collar on a dog is going to get you better results. Proper collar, martingale collar, right? We can sometimes use choke collars, occasionally prong collars, depending upon the situation. But as I always say, it's better to go with a martingale collar first and work our way up from there. I do prefer the martingale collars that are 3/4 nylon and 1/4 chain, just as a little side note there. But again, a dog, what's in a dog? A dog is a domesticated wolf, guys. Whether you want to accept this or not doesn't change the reality and the truth of it. But we have been domesticating dogs for arguably 40,000 years, maybe even longer. The general consensus is usually somewhere between 30 and 40,000 years. That's a lot of time. And in all that time, we used slip leashes, which are essentially a modified martingale collar. And what did we get? I don't know. Results. If we didn't, we wouldn't have continued breeding the way we have. We wouldn't continue hunting with the dogs the way we had over thousands and thousands of years. And the reason why is because humans didn't deny what a dog was at their core 1,000 years ago, 500 years ago, 100 years ago. But for some reason now in the modern day with marketing and emotions and social media and all the kind of stuff that comes with it, the information gets misconstrued. And the information becomes so much, right? Because I'm sure there's other podcast dog people out there that are advocating harnesses only. You can't do, how about the force-free stuff? We've talked about that. It's not in a dog's nature to be force-free, guys. And as a matter of fact, it's not in the nature of any animal on this planet to be force-free. Doesn't exist. Okay, we can say those words, blah, 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 force-free, all we want. You can say that over and over and over and over until your face turns blue. Doesn't make it true. There's no such thing as force-free training when it comes to dogs and animals. It's not the way of the world. Guys, wouldn't it be great, like as a Floridian, as someone who has to deal with hurricanes, wouldn't it be great if hurricanes didn't happen? But you know what? They do. And it's a force. It's a form of force that I can't control, that is out of my control, and it's a necessary force. Because hurricanes come in, they clear out all the old trees, brush, all that. It clears out the old to make way for the new. Force is a natural part of the world. It's the ebb and flow of the universe, and to deny it is just sheer ignorance. So when we talk about dogs and what's in a dog, as a predator, it's in their nature to use force to communicate. Force now before anybody starts jumping off the cliff, oh, David's saying force, it's this horrible thing, we can't use it. Force doesn't mean being mean, right? Force doesn't mean harsh. Force doesn't mean incredibly harsh punishments, because that's not what I'm saying. But look at it this way. Whether your dog is wearing a harness, a collar, whatever, if your dog is contained by some form of mechanism that holds them, and then we have a leash attached to that, if you decide to walk one way, you just turn and start walking, what's going to happen? Doesn't matter what harness, I don't care what they have on. What's going to start happening if I choose to start walking that way? The dog has to come with me, don't they? That, by definition, is force. You're forcing the dog to come with you through a physical mechanism that creates force that gives communication and direction. So when I hear trainers out there who say, oh, I'm a force-free trainer, I go, no, you're not. Like, you can say that all you want, but you're putting a leash on that dog at some point. And if you're not putting a leash on the dog at some point, you're not a very good trainer, in my opinion. But again, A leash is the most basic mechanism and definition of force that there is. And to deny this is just ignorant, guys. It is. It's pure ignorance. It's putting the blinders on. No, I don't want to, see or no even. No, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to see it. But it's the truth, isn't it? Can't deny that. Like, I love it. That's my favorite. This is what I love. Honestly, this is the part I love most about my job. It's psychology. It's black and white. You put one in, you're going to get two. If you put a leash on the dog and you start walking that way, that's force. Whether you want to accept that or not, doesn't really matter because it is force. So to deny the fact that a dog doesn't use force, you're denying what they are at their core. You're denying what's in a dog. So we have to look at the very basics. It's where I always start. What is a dog? I ask every single one of my clients, what is a dog? What is a dog? And usually I get a blank stare in response, but that's okay because they're like, well, David, it's a dog. It's a domesticated wolf. And you cannot forget that. You cannot deny that. And the sooner that you accept the fact that a dog is a dog and you start treating them that way, looking at them that way, taking off the blinders and realizing this is a domesticated wolf, the better success you're going to have. It's really that simple, guys. If we don't look at our dogs like what they are, then you're not treating them as what they are, and you're doing them a disservice. It's no different, just like I said at the beginning of the segment, it's no different than another adult treating you as an adult like a child. You're not going to like that, are you? You're not going to get that person is not going to get the results they're looking for by treating you like a child, by being condescending, right? And to me, when you treat a dog like a human, that's what you're doing. You're almost being condescending to them. You're taking away what makes them great, what makes dogs awesome. And to deny that, it's silly. I mean, it really is. It's silly when you think about it. So I implore you guys, do your own research, do your own reading, read where dogs came from, understand what they are at their core. And if you can tap into that by using the correct tools, such as the correct leash, the correct martingale collar, knowing how to utilize treats, knowing how to utilize corrections, touch corrections, all of these things are going to add up to make a better dog if you do them correctly. But again, I see it time and time again in this country, this country. I'm not in this country right now. I'm in the middle of the North Sea right now, which is awesome. But in the United States, there are too many people who deny what a dog is at their core. And look, a little side note, I was golfing the other day and my caddy, we were talking about dogs and everything. And he even said it. He goes, look, even over here in Scotland, he goes, I know so many people that adopted dogs during COVID and they just shouldn't have. They shouldn't have because they've gone back to work. They don't have time for the dog. They're not exercising the dog. The dog is sitting home 8 to 10 hours a day by themselves. They're frustrated. There's behavioral issues. I heard it right from him. If we don't give a dog what they need at their core, it's just going to create problems, right? So remember, guys, dogs are domesticated wolves, and that's what actually makes them incredible. That's what makes me want to work with them every day because they are wonderful animals, but you have to let them be what they are. You have to accept what they are and work with them in a way that is cohesive to their nature. All right. So remember, guys, domesticated wolves, they're dogs. That's why we love them, but you have to treat them as what they are. The more you treat them as what they are, the better results you're going to get, the better bond you're going to have here with your dog, and the better relationship you're going to have with your dog. So treat your dog like a dog and remember what's in a dog. Are you tired of your dog barking all the time? Or maybe you want them to stop jumping on people when they come over? Or does your dog take you for a walk instead of the other way around? Well, we can help. At the Nature of Training and Speak a Dogcast, we are committed to improving the relationships and lives people have with their pets. No matter what behavioral issue you are experiencing, from an unruly puppy to more severe issues, we can help. Our virtual training programs are catered to you and your pet and create a training plan that gets results. For more information, you can check out our website at www.thenatureoftraining.com or find us on Facebook or Instagram at Speak a Dogcast. With the ability to connect, teach, and train with pet owners around the world, together we can make a better home for our furry friends. The Nature of Training and Speak a Dogcast, helping you achieve success with your pet. Next on Speak a Dogcast, across the pond. Yes, I should be giving the disclaimer at the beginning of each segment here. I'm on a cruise ship. Yes, I decided to bring you all along with me on my vacation once again. I am in the middle of the North Sea right now, up above Scotland, and we are making our way around. And it's been wonderful. I have to admit, it's my first time over to the United Kingdom. We've been to Ireland, we did England, and we did Scotland, and now we're making our way around Scotland even more. And first of all, it's been wonderful. I have to say, I've been just absolutely loving this trip. It's such a nice vacation, and everyone here has been so wonderful, so nice. Everyone in Ireland, everyone in Scotland, they're just the nicest, most welcoming people. And I have to say, it really has just been fantastic. The food, the drinks, of course, the Guinness. Oh my gosh. We can talk about the Guinness for just a second. Amazing. It goes down easy. 100% honesty, I'm not the biggest fan of Guinness beer in America. I'm really not. It's just not really my thing. However, over here, it's a totally different ball game. Now, part of it is we hear they don't put the preservatives in the beer that they do in the United States, and so there's almost this bitterness to Guinness in the U.S. Not the case over here. It goes down like candy. It's that smooth cream. It's so good. Like, I just have to, like, little side note, the Guinness over here is insane. But that's not what we're talking about today. We're talking about dogs. And I have to say, I've made some observations being over here. I can't help it. I can't turn it off. I see dogs and I start observing and thinking, and my professional brain, trainer brain, doesn't turn off. And it's been so wonderful, guys. It's been so wonderful because you know why? I haven't seen one single misbehaving dog the entire time I've been here. It's the truth. And we've gotten off the boat quite a bit, a lot of different ports of call on this cruise, and I have seen a lot of different dogs. A lot of different dogs. I've seen them interacting out on the beach in the city of Dublin, out when I'm playing golf on the links courses on the beach, and it has been a pleasant surprise because the dogs are so well behaved. Is that to say there are dogs over here that are not well behaved? Of course not. Of course, there's definitely dogs. Look, Victoria Stillwell, right? She's I'm pretty sure from England, and she has a job, so clearly there's work for her here. But on the whole, it's been such a pleasure because I've seen dogs off leash, minding their P's and Q's, being very well behaved, not jumping on people, not barking, approaching other dogs appropriately, and listening to their owners and paying attention. I mean, really, like, unbelievable. I love it. And I have to thank everybody over here in Ireland, England, and Scotland, all three guys, that I have seen dogs and observed behavior. And 98%, no, not even 100% of the time, the dogs have been so great. Now, these people are taking their dogs out in public, so yes, there's a chance that these dogs are more well-behaved and trained and blah, 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 blah. But when I'm in the United States, I can't say that. How many times have you guys heard me complain? And I don't want to be a complainer, but for crying out loud, every damn time I take my dogs out to go walk, especially this one particular park I go to in my local area, there are dogs not only off leash, but incredibly misbehaved. Not listening to their owners, ignoring them, doing whatever they want, coming after other dogs. I've met people at this park that have been bitten before by other dogs. I could go on and on. I go downtown in my hometown, in downtown Stuart, and you'll see dogs misbehaving, barking, yapping, jumping, left and right. Is that to say I don't see dogs that are behaving? No, there are dogs that do behave in my area. But I would say more than 50% of the dogs I see at home are not behaving correctly, are not paying attention to their owner, are not cued in, right? And so it's been, once again, a pleasant surprise and a wonderful thing to see that these are dogs that are behaving. And they're not on leash. We went to the Isle of Man the other day, and I don't even remember how many dogs I saw, and I think only one of them was on leash, and the rest were not, and they were staying within about a 10-foot radius of their owner without a problem. They were paying attention, they weren't barking, they only approached people when the owner approached people. It was such a breath of fresh air, not only because the Isle of Man is gorgeous and the air here is wonderful, but because the dogs are behaving. Now, I don't know what it is. It may be a cultural thing. Maybe it is a little more of looking out for your fellow man, somewhat. And it's not to say everybody's going to be like this over here. But again, on the whole, the dogs are behaving better. And I just kind of scratch the head and go, why? And I'll be honest, I don't have the answer. I don't have the answer of why dogs are better behaved over here because that's not why I'm here, right? I'm not digging into it and talking to the owners and researching. I bet if I did enough of that, we could find some commonality of why dogs are better behaved over here. I mean, it bums me out. I mean, first of all, I've talked about before, in the state of Florida, where I live, there are leash laws, and there are laws that say your dog has to be leashed up. But that doesn't guarantee good behavior, does it? Right? Like, that doesn't guarantee a dog is going to be well behaved just because they're on leash. And as a matter of fact, like I said, it's worse in my area. It's not just the off-leash dogs that are misbehaved, it's the on-leash dogs as well. So I think there's almost this understanding that a dog is a dog. We need to treat them as such, and they need to be well trained. At least that's what I observed. And again, this is not just Isle of Man. We've been to Dublin. We've been to Belfast, saw dogs in Belfast. We were at Liverpool. Liverpool, I don't know that I actually saw. I have to be fair. I'll say England. I don't know that I saw any dogs in Liverpool because we were there for the Open. It was sort of direct bus right to the Open kind of thing. And of course, there aren't dogs at the Open, which was nice because there shouldn't be. But again, where were we yesterday? We were in Glasgow. We were just outside of Glasgow, and I saw dogs that were, again, off-leash and well-behaved. So there must be some kind of consensus among people that dogs should behave themselves, and there should be respect to their fellow neighbor, to their fellow man, woman, whatever, that dogs should behave. Dogs should be controlled. Dogs should know how to approach people and not jump on them, not bark at everything. I will say, actually, no, I'm sorry. I did see dogs at Liverpool. I just remembered it's been it's been a long trip, and we have packed in so much that it's like all kind of getting a little confused in the brain. But no, we did see dogs. That's correct. We were at the British Open, the Open for those of you unaware of golf. There is the U.S. Open, and then there is the Open, which is the British Open. But we call it just the Open because it's the Open. It was incredible, but. It's what we call a links course, right? And a links course tends to be out on the water, and there was a beach right next to the 17th hole, and there were, probably like 7 or 8 dogs out with their owners on the beach having a great time. One of them did bark. Now, he's out having fun with his owner. He's out barking out of excitement on the beach. He's not barking at people. And I will admit, that was a little you could hear because, side note, really quick, the Open was incredible because when it needed to be silent, guys, it got silent. I'm talking to the point that there's hundreds, if not thousands of people around this one hole, and you could hear a pin drop. And so when this dog barked out on the beach way far away, it was clear as day over by the 17th green. We were sitting in the stands. You could literally hear the dog echoing off the grandstands on the tee box. That was literally the worst behavior I've seen out of a dog since we've been here. Barking and having fun on the beach and interrupting the Open. Now, to be fair, they probably didn't even realize they were because they were so far away. It was so quiet that the sound was carrying. But 1 out of 7 dogs barking for like 30 seconds and that was it. That's incredible, guys. How many of you leave your dogs at a boarding facility or a doggy day camp facility in the States? And what happens a lot of times at those facilities? It's constant barking, constant anxiety, dogs going nuts, not controlled. And there was 7, 8 dogs out on the beach together, romping around in the dunes, having a great time, and they're being quiet as can be. We have this misconception in the States that in order for a dog to be happy, they have to be loud and absolutely obnoxious. And that is not true. Dogs are not supposed to constantly bark at each other. We think they are. They're not supposed to do that, guys. That's not a normal behavior. And so what I've observed over here in the UK is that the perspective on dogs, it's just a little different. It's just a little bit different. Now, is that to say every owner is going to be like that? Absolutely not. There are definitely owners that are not that way. But it's very interesting that we have this preconceived notion in the state of what a dog is supposed to be. And for the most part, sadly, it's wrong. It's wrong. We think dogs are supposed to be out of control, barking constantly, jumping on people. Oh, he's happy to see you. Right? So it's been, again, a breath of fresh air to be over here on vacation and once again observe well-behaved dogs. I've talked about it before quite a few episodes ago. Almost 10 years ago now, which is just crazy. My wife and I took a wonderful trip over to Beijing and Hong Kong. And, pardon me. And I observed over there that the dogs were much more well-behaved on the whole than dogs in the United States. Everybody was much more respectful. Dogs were able to approach each other, sniff, sniff, sniff for 10 seconds and keep walking like it's not a big deal. As if 2 people walking up and shaking hands and saying hello. The appropriate way dogs should actually greet each other. And so it comes down to a cultural thing and a perspective thing on how we view dogs. And so it's fascinating that the second we get across the pond over the other direction toward the United States, that view becomes so skewed. And I find it sad. I do. I really do. I wish on the whole in the United States we could start to get back to understanding what dogs are, just like we talked about in the first segment today. And being able to have dogs that are awesome, that get along well with other dogs, that don't jump on people, that don't have anxiety, that don't have behavioral issues, that aren't trying to bite, all these things. Again, is that to say there are no dogs over here like that? Absolutely not. Absolutely. That's not what I'm saying. But again, if I can travel to all these cities in a short period of time and not see those extreme behaviors, and yet go to my own hometown just to walk my dogs in the morning and I see those behaviors 20 times, what does that tell you? What does that tell us about our perspective in the US on dogs? It's our perspective and our perception that gets us these undesired behaviors, most of it. Right? So, again, I just have to kind of say thank you to responsible dog owners over here in the UK. It has been a pleasure to see that people can enjoy their dogs like they should. Well-behaved, off-leash. I wish we could all have our dogs off-leash in the US. I truly do. I wish I could advocate that, but I cannot. Partially because of the law, and partially because people are just downright irresponsible. It's the truth. It's the truth, guys. Whether you like it or not, it's the truth. Is that to say your dog isn't well-behaved? You might go, David, I take my dog off-leash all that. Well, good for you. And if your dog's well-behaved, dude, that's awesome. Like, I'm all for that. I would love everybody to put in the time and the effort to have controlled, well-behaved dogs. But the reality is, we don't. So again, thank you to everybody over here that has been doing great with their dogs, that have had well-behaved dogs. It's been a pleasure for someone as myself, as a professional, to see and witness, and I love it. So across the pond, it's a little different, and I like it, and I wish we could take a little bit of that, bottle it up, and bring it home and show everybody our dogs don't have to be lunatics. So again, thank you guys over here in the UK. I've had a great time. I'm enjoying myself, and hey, we still have quite a few days to go over here. There'll be a second podcast coming where I will be recording on the ship again. So hey, more info coming your way over from the UK. All right. So yeah, across the pond, it's a little different, and I love it. The answer to today's trivia question, how long can a Galapagos tortoise go without water? It's 1 year. Yes, incredibly, the Galapagos tortoise can go without water for an entire year. That's going to wrap up the podcast today. Thank you so much for listening in. If you haven't clicked that subscribe or that follow button, do so right now. New episodes come out every Wednesday, and you are going to want to check them out. You can find me on Instagram at SpeakADogcast. Check me out on YouTube at youtube.com/SpeakADogcast. If you want to support the show even more, head on over to patreon.com/SpeakADogcast to become a patron of the show today. And don't forget, if you love what you're hearing, do me a favor, scroll on down, click that 5-star rating, give me that thumbs up, give me that like. I would greatly appreciate it. I want to thank my patrons, my pup supporters, Regula Wright and Jill Norenberg, and my dog friend, Maureen Crossan. Have a wonderful week, and don't forget, get out there and walk your dog.